Howdy, what's good about your boy Romanpuss here with the one and only S-Hawk Guide, the one, the only Mihawk 2.0, the better and greater swordsman as we speak. Now, he is a fantastic unit. If you're not familiarized with the skills and the traits, please familiarize yourself with them right now, as I will not be directly going over them. Alright, so hopefully you got that down. Let's dive into some stat recommendations. What should you build on your medals? Not the medals yet. The medal recommendations will be at the end. If you want to skip there now, go right ahead. Anyways, the stats that you should build on your Mihawk, so S-Hawk, whatever you want to call him. Definitely attack. Definitely max out attack to the 70%. That is a for sure. You're going to want that so you can kill. You are an attacker. That is your goal, is to kill. So that for sure. You have options for HP or defense. I personally think defense makes the most sense. He does have higher defense, so you will be able to get more defense stat out of it. And he is a flat healer, so he does heal. Specifically, his skills do heal up to a specific flat amount, like 5,000, I do believe, or 15,000, something of that sort. So you do heal direct flat. So usually when they're like that type of healing, it's better to go defense oriented. You do have the heal on knockback for percent healings as well. So I think that's where HP also comes in decently clutch as well. So honestly, your pick. In the current meta, HP is potentially better, but you do get more bang for your buck technically when you build defense. And defense is going to be better when you're fighting something like S-Snake, who so happens to be very prominent in the meta right now. But something like HP will help you more so against something like a Gear 5, which you will fight an awful lot. Alright, moving on to your pros. What makes S-Hawk good, and why would you even bother playing him? The first thing is your invincibility. So apparently with these Seraphims, or what is it, Lunarian race, I believe is what we're going for, is what they all are. There's something like Albert, he gets invincibility when he gets perfect dodge. You get S-Snake, gets 3 hits of invincibility when she uses her skill 1. And you have S-Hawk, who now currently gets 3 hits of invincibility when he hits his 3rd basic attack. Sounds easy, can be somewhat difficult, but we'll get into that later, kind of when you're playing and how to play him and what can make him difficult overall. Landing your 3rd basic attack can actually be decently tricky because the enemy's perfect dodge. You'll notice this in these games. They can dodge, and if they sit still, they won't take damage. So don't just 1, 2, 3 people when you're fighting them. You'll want to tap your basic attack button 1 time, let it reset, and then tap it for 1, 2, 3 times after that, so that way they can get their dodge out. You can kind of bait it out and then hit the 3rd hit on the last one. You can only hit a max of 4 hits before they'll be knocked down, so you can't just do 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. That's not going to work because it's 5 hits. So you have to hit once, get them to try and dodge, but you have to do it quick so you don't give them a perfect dodge, and then go 1, 2, 3 right after that, get your invincibility, and you'll be golden. Next, he has healing on both of his skills. These skills hit hard, and you will heal a lot from them. Normally, flat healing is not that significant, but his skills hit very, very hard, and I absolutely love it, so definitely work with that. Next, you have a speed buff permanent, so whenever you dodge, you get a 10% speed buff. You won't particularly feel it, and he does generally feel slow anyway, but it is a nice speed buff that buffs you anyways and gets you farther along and faster places without you really realizing it. Next, you have knockback on both of your skills. This is fantastic for getting people away from you. And if you run the correct medal set that I recommend down at the end, it gives you extra healing as well. So knockbacks are nice, gives you a little time to reset, lets you potentially line yourself up for a better hit and better point of battle when you're fighting your enemies. Next one, you have ignore defense on your skill 2. When you fully charge your skill 2, it does ignore defense. This allows you to crush, and I hit for generally 22,000 plus when I'm fighting people. So it is very common to hit, and it's very common to one-shot with him if you fully charge the skill. Honestly, your skill 1 one-shots decently often as well. Next, your skill 1 goes through walls. Make sure you take advantage of this. You can slash, people won't be paying attention to you. You can use this on specific maps like Thriller Bark. You can use this on Arlong Park to slash through the wall if people aren't paying attention to you, or if people just don't really realize what you do. You can really utilize that to get some damage off or kill people or stop them from taking your flags. And then the last one is you're really good at 1v1s on flags, but make sure you are alone. You do not want to be fighting with a teammate because they will take away your anti-stagger, and you lose a bunch of things as you noticed in the traits earlier on. Now let's talk about your cons. What kind of hurts you when you are fighting? Your skill 2 does take a very, very long time to charge in relation to your vulnerabilities that you have while you're charging this. Most people who charge for this long have some kind of immunity to status effects, which you do have immunity to status effects, but you are not immune to knockbacks, and you do not have any extra damage reduction while you're charging this as well. These can leave you extremely vulnerable, so don't always try to sit there and charge that. The damage is still really solid if you don't fully charge it. It's still 538 and it's only like 100 less damage, but it still hits pretty hard. Yes, it does not ignore defense, but if you need to get it off and save yourself, you'll still heal, you'll still get the damage off. May not be as much, but it'll still do a lot and has saved me several times. Just make sure you don't try and always focus on fully charging that skill 2. You pretty much have to get a perfect setup for that to actually happen. So without, this kind of leads me into the next point, is without your invincibility, you're relatively weak. You can get that charge skill off if you have the invincibility off, but without your invincibility, you're vulnerable to percentage damage things still. So Roger can still percentage damage you, and then once you're below 70%, he can still stun you. So things to be on the lookout when you're fighting people. You can actually take a lot of damage, especially if they are not knockbackers. So watch out for people who don't knock back. If they are very like multi-hitters, knockbacks, these things destroy you, and those are some of your biggest counters in general. So in case you have not caught on by now, someone like Onigashima Zoro can really whop you down because he does not knock back, and he slashes multiple times during his basic attacks, and his big Ashura skill slashes multiple times as well. So things to be on the lookout when you're fighting. So the last thing that I kind of mentioned already is that dodge abuse can really screw you over when you're trying to get your third basic attack. Sometimes you don't necessarily have time to do the 1 and then 1 2 3 that I was talking about with your basic attack pattern, and then you have to just straight up 1 2 3. Sometimes you don't have that option and you have to just do it, or you're just panic and you do it. So the people will dodge, they'll sit there in one place, and your third basic attack will miss, which will result in you not getting your invincibility. And if people are invincible and you hit them, it does not count as having your third basic attack land, so you will not become invincible as well. Even though it does technically hit, it just doesn't do damage. So I think it's really kind of garbage that it doesn't give you the invincibility, but it is what it is. Now let's talk about the characters you are strong against. So people like Gear 5, a lot of green units, because you have that extra oomph against characters you're strong against. So the characters you're strong against are greens and dark colored units, so you can take away their dodge, you can take away their skill 1s, so that really goes far. So Gear 5 and Roger V2 are some of your main characters that you're strong against because you are immune to status effects as well. So just try and get on the flag, fight them there. That is the best place to be, is on their flag, and make them defend it. Roger, you can stop him from taking the flag very easily. Just keep wailing on him, get the free invincibility while he takes the flag in front of you, and then you can just kill him right after and take the flag back. It works wonderfully. V1 Roger, relatively easy to deal with. Shanks, relatively easy to deal with. These are some of your best matches that you have, and you can absolutely destroy a lot of those characters. So greens are meant for you, and dark units as well. All right, let's talk about some S-Hawk counters. What counters him and what destroys him? So the first thing is going to be S-Snake. If she knows what she's doing, she will destroy you. She does have a knockback, and most of them are brain dead and will use their knockback against you to give you that heal, but if they're smart, they will just use their 1-2 basic attack moves and just laser you down until you're dead. And her invincibility is a lot easier to land than yours, and if you start fighting one with her invincibility up, it's very difficult to deal with. You can kill them. Probably 9 times out of 10 she will kill you versus you killing her, because she's very girthy as well, and you do not have huge amounts of damage increase. So it's just things that tack on, that rack up. The next one is Onigashima Zoro. You can fight him decently okay if you do not change his color, but if you change his color to blue, he will absolutely annihilate you, and you better run. He will melt through your invincibility as well, so you got to make sure you kill him, and kill him quickly. Just don't color change him, but in general, Zoro will kill you a good majority of the time, and if they time their skill 2 right, they'll destroy you, and they still do a good amount of damage even if you don't color change them and they land their Ashura skill. Next, you have Egghead Zoro. This is a piece of cake to deal with if he does not have his effect up. So do not let him get close to you to basic attack you so he gets his super enhanced Conqueror's Hockey state, do not give him that. Or if he just took a flag, don't bother with fighting him. Just knock him away, use a skill if you need to, and then just run away from him and try and stall out his skill if you can. Otherwise, if he has his skill up, he will absolutely annihilate you. And then another person that can destroy you is someone like Kagura. Is a blue attacker. Charlotte Biscuit Boy can destroy you as well. A lot of blue units will annihilate you because you are just red. So just things to be careful of as you're fighting. All right, let's talk about some medal recommendations. Honestly, he's somewhat of a generic attacker. So he really does use generic attackers medal sets. So this is relatively basic. These are some of the best attacker-oriented medal sets in the game. I strongly think the top Luffy Wano one is the best one. If you have that event Luffy medal one, I strongly recommend it. If you don't have that, that is okay. You can replace it with any other Wano Luffy ones that you find. There's the Luffy Taro one. There's the, I think I have the Raid Luffy one in there already. There's a couple different Luffys that you can use. And it's okay if you don't have that perfect skill one. You have a good chunk of skill one cooldown that you can achieve. So the main one is having that Gear 5 medal in there. When you knock back, you heal an extra 3%. That actually goes a long way. Since both of your skills knock back, it puts in a lot of work. So I strongly recommend that Luffy set because it comes with fat damage increase. You have the extra heals. It works wonders. If you do not have this Luffy set, you can go with this Kaido set. Honestly, either works really well. This Kaido set's phenomenal. You can probably go with a more attacker-oriented Kaido set instead of having the blue Kaido one, which is damage increase on your flag. So that center Kaido medal you can trade off for the event Kaido. If you have that, that would be a better option if you have it. So I just put these ones in there because they're all base Kaido ones and they are achievable within the game for sure. If they're not an event medal reliant. Next one is the blue medal set, or Boa blue. Geez, words. Boa Hancock medal set. You can use her. They do have that new event medal. If you have that one in there, you can throw that and swap it around, whichever is your preference. Boa Hancock medal set is fantastic. Always been great on attackers as well. And then another option is Katakuri. You can run him. He has fat damage increase. You have a couple damage reductions as well. You already have 30% damage reduction when you're above 70% HP. So you have a lot of benefits that come from that as you're playing in the game. So these are really generic. I generally recommend the top two in this medal set. The bottom two are not going to play drastically different. You will still be nearly just as strong, if not the same. So relatively similar outcomes. I think he's really easy to build in terms of medals. Generic attacker medal sets, and you can utilize these. If you build these medals out, you can use them on almost any other attacker and be okay when you're playing. So I generally recommend these are fantastic universe medals. The Kaido set is probably the most universal medal set, so if you want to use that, go right ahead. But anyways, that is my overall S-Hawk guide. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, hopefully found you useful, and I would love if you guys like, follow, subscribe if you did. If not, that's fine too. I'm your boy Romanpuss, and I'm gonna be taking off. Yeah, holy peace, people.